Hello, my name is Carl, and I'm going to be your host in today's live. I'm just kidding, man. I want to welcome you guys back to our live. It's the Ricoma Live, and today we've got a special guest for you. His name is Johan. He's all the way on the west side, while I'm over here on the east side. Or would that be the west side? Anyway, let me read a couple comments here. We've got Brooke Hernandez that says she is super excited to be here. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you for watching. Mirror SB, excited to see this. And he's from Florida. Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're watching from. We have Sandra from Virginia. That's just VA regular, not West Virginia. We have Mira from St. Petersburg. Okay. Woohoo. Stand your ground shortly. Bakersfield checking in. Okay. Yes. Can you guys hear me? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Make sure everything is working right. We've got the camera and video audio crew right here. I got Jorge and Iram standing by. These guys are awesome. They're helping me put all this together. I couldn't have done it without them. Let me get a whoop whoop for the guys at video. Say something, Iram. Yes, all right. Jorge, let me hear you. Shout out. Whoa, whoa. All right, guys. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Johan. He's all the way from the west side, and he does some really innovative things. And today he's going to teach us something really special. I'm not sure what it is, but you're going to be on the seat of your pants, just kind of waiting. It's going to be pretty awesome. So let's introduce him right now. Let's meet Johan. Appear.
Hey, what up? How's everybody
What's
doing
up,
out
Johan?
there? How are you doing, Carl?
I'm doing great, man.
That's good. That's good. That's great.
So when I knew you were coming, I stalked your Instagram and just started watching all your content, man. And you got some really cool stuff.
Thank
So
you.
tell us a little bit about yourself, Johan.
I'm Johan. I came from Philadelphia. I moved myself to Los Angeles to immerse myself in the creative scene. You know, a lot of creatives out here. I figured this is where I felt most right to be. And embroidery was a secondary thing at first. I was mainly making clothing, cut and sew, and I got the embroidery machine to elevate my designs. And it just so happened, you know, I wanted to push the boundaries and make, you know, the craziest, largest, most intricate embroideries possible. And just that I could elevate the designs, like I said, and other people were like, wow, you can do that? Can you do that for me? And so then embroidery just kind of took the forefront of things. And since then, it's just been nonstop embroidery. The machines are always running.
That's cool, man. So I know I was inspired by having two grandmothers that were seamstresses. Where did you get this inspiration from? Like, how did you even get into sewing?
Well, growing up, you know, it was like thrift store clothes, but I wanted the nice clothes. So I figured if I can't afford them, I'll just make them. And, you know, so I taught myself just YouTube videos. And one day, I think it was Christmas, maybe my birthday, somebody gifted me a single needle brother embroidery machine from Walmart. And one thing led to another, and I was like, I think I have a gift here. You know, I think I can do something with this. And so I started doing research on machines, and Ricoma was the one that everyone was talking about. So I figured, let's do that. And I'm very proud of that choice that I made. I've been such an advocate, and so now that I actually get to, you know, be a part of this, you know, just streaming with you guys. It's almost like a dream. It's really cool.
So how did you make the connection with Ricoma, other than all the research? But how did we end up connecting here?
So it was at the Impressions Expo 2 years ago, I believe January, maybe March. I ran into, you know, I came to the booth really to meet the team there. I believe it was Nick that I first was introduced to, and I said, hey, you know, I'm just learning how to use the machine and really start to push the capabilities of, you know, what I've seen other people do with it. And he said, "Oh, that's great." You know, he was receptive, and I came back the following year, which was just this past March, I believe, and remembered me, and I showed I showed him what I had done in the past year, and the whole crew over at Ricoma was very receptive, and I appreciated how everyone accepted me.
That's great, man. So you know how sewing machines seem to be a gateway to embroidery, because I had sewing machines and I always remember going to the mall and seeing these guys making these caps with the multi-needle embroidery machines. And I always thought, man, that is so cool. Until one day I was looking through Instagram and I found my own and I ended up getting one as well. So I can understand how you're saying that sewing just kind of leads to it. It's just inevitable that you
Right.
always just end to go that way. So it's a gateway to embroidery.
Right.
What has been one of your best-selling designs?
I don't have a specific design, but my best selling that I push the most are the large jacket pieces. So I'll take, for instance, I get these Carhartts. I thrift them. I get them off of eBay or Depop, and we just open up the sides of them and just cover the back in embroidery. That's all we do, and that's what this is, all embroidery.
So it keeps the inside clean, right? Since you're opening it up.
Well, I don't open it up that much. I lay it right on top. I
Okay.
just open up the sides so that I can lay the whole back flat right on the sash
Okay.
frame.
I see. Oh, you use the sash frame.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's a lot of people love it just because it's not something that you see every day.
So let me ask you: do you do your own digitizing or do you outsource?
I outsource.
Okay. Have you done any digitizing yourself?
I know a little bit here and there. I know how to make some adjustments. If I need to make a border or something or change a fill, I can do that. But I haven't had the time. I work a day job and it's pretty time consuming. At the end of the day, one day I really do want to take courses and learn so that I can do all that on my own. But at the moment, the time just isn't there for me.
Well, you're in luck because you can always go to Chroma TV, Chroma Digitizing, and watch all these videos that we make that show you how to do all types of digitizing step by step. So if you're ever interested, you're welcome to go to that channel, subscribe, and take a look at it. You'll learn a lot from it. Now, how did you develop your niche, and who is your target audience, and how did that whole thing come about?
Well, my niche, because I came from cut and sew, it was, I guess you can call it like an underground, I guess, community on Instagram of other people, just kids in their bedrooms, thrifting clothes, cutting them up and sewing them back together in different ways. So that's my community. That's my main community right now, or the community that I came from before I transitioned to just embroidery. And so the niche was, all these kids, they're self-taught, and they're trying to do the best possible, most extravagant work that they can, and so that's what my inspiration really was. It was like, okay, I'm self-taught and I want to do the best possible thing that I can do. And I looked around at, all the other people doing embroidery and said, well, what's something that's really not being done? Large scale pieces. I mean, I know that the machines are capable of them, but I don't see many people doing it. And so we figured, let's just push the envelope on that. And so that's where I feel my niche target market is.
What is the average time of your pieces? Because they look really big.
10, 12 hours.
that's
a whole day. Just a whole day running the machine.
So I think you have two machines, right?
I do. I have a SWD and I have a TC, both 1501.
Okay. That's awesome, man. Let me tell you, what has been the biggest hurdle in your whole embroidery experience or journey?
That's a good question. I would say there's a lot of different ways.
Or what was the hardest thing for you to dominate? Because I know everybody talks about tension. Tension is like the biggest elephant in the room for everybody. They're always because you have to change it if you're doing puff, and it's not something that you set it and forget it. It's something that's
Right.
very fluid, and you always
It
got to be
is.
messing with it. So, what
I
has
would
been?
easily, I would say probably tension. When I first got the machine, I didn't even have a tension gauge, and so I went and I got like the cheapest one I could find. It was like a little pulley, and
Right.
it, it's not accurate at all. And so it's just trying and trying. Is it supposed to be tighter? Is it supposed to be looser? What about the bobbin? Is it tighter or looser? And then trying to trial and error, and that changes for each different fabric or, hat to flat. So then we upgraded, got the next best version where it actually sits in a housing and you pull it. Still doesn't give you the best reading. So then I went and I got the Tau tension gauge, the digital one. If you're doing embroidery, just skip the fuss, skip the hassle, go right to the Tau, spend the money, just get it. It is a lifesaver.
Man, I see that you're in your studio, right? Is this where all the magic happens?
This is where all the magic happens, right here.
Now, do you sell to, like, do you have a store that you sell out of, or is it all like person to person type stuff?
It's all person to person, word of mouth, and just through Instagram messages. A little bit on Reddit,
really cool.
Maybe some on TikTok, but a lot of it's word of mouth. And so I kind of juggle between doing client work. People reach out, hey, I have my brand, I want to get all these patches or something on a T-shirt. And then on the other side of it, I'm doing the artistry, I guess, if you want to call it, where these jacket pieces, and I'm also working on a collection. I just wrapped up a collection of album covers. We did to the scale of like what actual records would be. We did about 50 of my favorite albums.
They were really cool. I saw that you, on one of your videos, you were taking tags off of clothes and putting new tags. So that's just one way to keep yourself busy and keep stuff coming in, huh?
Exactly, yeah. That work, that's kind of in the past now. That was, when I first moved out to Los Angeles and just needing to, find a way to pay rent. Yeah, really. But, just the word of mouth, the work speaks for itself. People see it and they're very receptive and they're very inspired by it. Anyone that comes over my studio always leaves wide-eyed, ready to take on something new in whatever craft that they're doing.
That's cool, man. By watching your videos, you inspired me to make a whole bunch of stuff. I want to learn how to make my own pants. I think it's really cool. So I got to make me some pants.
If you ever need any tips, I'm here to help.
Oh, I'm going to be calling you, man, because that's the one thing. I want to make me some pants. And I like what you said in one of your videos, that you were like, the only way to do it is just to start. And then you just start developing the skill and eventually it'll just happen, So I just need to get to that point and just get a pattern, maybe grab a pair of Levi's like you did, break them apart and reverse engineer them and find the pattern and just make something that I like. But I'm really excited to make some stuff.
All right, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, man. So what do you have for us today?
Today we were going to do a multi-layer 3D puff image. We were gonna, I'm thinking a bunch of grapes would be perfect, where it would look like an actual bunch of grapes where, they're 3D rounded and some are in front of others. So we'll do one layer and then a second layer puff on top of that, so we can get the full effect of, what it would be like in real life.
That's cool. So we're not going to make a bunch of grapes, but we're going to make a bunch of grapes.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. I'm super excited to see that, and it's great that there's different ways of overlapping puff to get an extra third dimension out of it. So I'm really excited to see what this is going to look like. So while you're getting that ready, I'm going to see if I can look at some of these comments.
Okay. Let me take you over to
all right.
the table.
We got people from Florida, Ricoma. Yes. Ellenville. Is that New York? Mirror SB says, Johan, what's up? And Delonda from Crafting with Delonda says, hello, everyone. Hi, Delonda. And Yes. Shout out to Philly. Philly in the house. Yes. And if you're watching, who else here has their own brand? I'm kind of curious. Who else here has their own brand? And how are you making it out there? And do you sell your stuff to a store, or is it more person to person? So a lot of people started with a single needle embroidery machine. I started with a Diamond Elite Husqvarna, which was a sewing machine and an embroidery machine. But it was just not until I got my Ricoma MT2001 that I really just like exploded, and just the creativity just started to come out. So I can imagine how it's a really exciting thing. Oh, thank you, Janelle. She's like, oh, the audio is great. Yes. Johan, are you ready?
Yes, I am. I had to put on the headphones. The machine's going to be loud.
Yeah. Somebody wants to know what your craziest piece that you've embroidered. I saw
I can show
I saw the one. What is it? The clown?
the Joker.
No, not the Joker. You made a clown, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
I forgot the
Captain
name.
Spaulding. Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses, the Rob Zombie
Yeah,
movie.
some of those are so cool, man. I've seen some of
Yeah,
those designs.
I have them all ready to show. I'm trying to see how I can flip my camera around.
You got to hit that little button that has the camera with the little things that you can switch. The little button right there.
Here we go. Here we go. Okay,
There it is.
so we're on the machine. We're using our mighty hoop as
Okay.
always, and we're just gonna go ahead and press start.
So right now there's no puff on it, right?
Right, no puff on it. Once we get to the grapes, we'll start layering. Have our 3mm puff from Madeira.
Okay.
And this specific design is about 6,000 stitches. I think it'll take a total of 15 minutes to get done. I don't know. In the meantime, do you want to see some of my designs?
Yeah,
Some of
let's take a
the
look
other
at 'em.
jackets?
Yeah, for
All
sure,
right,
for
I'll
sure.
take you over into this area.
You put that thing on
Careful.
automatic manual, right? So it stops.
Exactly. Yeah, it stops when it's ready to get a puff on it.
Yes. Look at that
Okay.
jacket. That's the guy from. Oh my God, I've seen that movie. It's a great movie.
It is.
What's the name of
It's
it? What?
That's House of a Thousand Corpses.
Ah,
Rob
that's cool,
Zombie's
man.
first movie.
Yes, Rob Zombie. That is so cool.
We have some card. These are from the card game Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, I like the gradient on those. That came out really nice. Really nice.
And so when we do these, we try to. You can see the face has got all metallic thread in it. It gives it that shimmer shine. But yeah, all the
real
gradients.
metallic, or is it Madeira CR metallic?
Madeira CR metallic.
And it flows through the machine pretty easily, right?
No problem at all. I love the CR metallic. I've got almost every color of it.
Wow, that's awesome. Those are
Another
so cool.
one.
So how much does one of these things go for? What do you sell that for?
About $700. It's all based on the stitch count, really. This one's got a lot less stitches in it. I think this is 400, and then we throw on the jackets are usually about $50.
Now, are those on consignment? Did somebody ask you to make those, or are those things that you just decided to make with your designs?
They're just what I've decided to make, what I thought would look the best, most detailed. And I know that it's a lot of people like that kind of they're very into it.
They are.
So,
they're really cool.
And then I could show you some of the latest collection that I was talking about. All of the album covers that I've been working on. Sorry for moving so much.
No, don't worry about it. That's really cool.
Good.
While you're
So
getting that set up, I'm always telling people that the thrift store is a great place to get yourself some extra material to test on, and you could even, do an embroidery on the back of one of these things, and you can sell it for way more. Like what you got those for maybe $1, $2 at the thrift store, so you can really make a big profit on those.
it is a good profitable item, and it's also you get to repurpose something that might have just ended up in
Of
a
course,
landfill.
for sure, for sure.
There's Rob Zombie for you there. Misfits. I don't know. I've got something for everyone in here. But it's
Now,
just
are
the
these?
detail is so
Yeah,
intricate.
that's really nice. Are these on consignment or are these just for sale as well?
They're just for sale.
That's really cool, man.
Um, yeah, there's something for
And
everybody here.
and you make your own frames, right?
Yeah, they're all made in house.
You
And
guys got to
then,
check out his Instagram. He makes all his stuff handmade, and it's really cool.
yeah, that's I don't want to show everything, but
How
here,
did you
let's go
come up with
back
the
to the
name Now
machine.
Compare?
Well, now compare was, you've seen everybody else's work. Here's mine. Now compare.
That's the guy, that clown right there. What's the name of that clown? Go up a little bit.
Let me see. Oh, Pennywise.
Pennywise. Yes, that's really cool. I love the eyes, man. It really looks like it's staring right into your soul,
It's
Ooh.
funny. I was at a pizza shop the other week, and I was outside, from where I ordered, and the hostess came out and she said, "Oh my God, I saw your jacket and I was so scared."
Yeah. It's looking right at you, man. It's so real, it's really
It
nice.
is.
All right, so now you put the foam down.
Back at the
And
machine.
are we gonna do you're gonna layer it, right? You're gonna do double layer?
Yes. So
Okay,
right
so
now
we're
we're
gonna
doing the
go.
first layer, and then when the machine calls for it, we'll put a second layer down.
So there are ways to enhance your embroidery by increasing the underlay. So if you don't have puff, you can always use parallel underlay, zigzag underlay, and the regular underlay fill. And if you combine those, you can really bulk up your designs if you wanted to do a slight puff, but not quite as much as 3 millimeters. So that's
Right.
one way to add other dimensions to it as well. All right, so now we're going for the second layer. So we did the first couple grapes on the bunch, and now we're going to do the second bunch
And
of grapes.
we'll go in between. We'll flip flop. We'll take the second layer off. It'll go back to one layer, and back and forth a little bit.
So
And then at the end of
are
it,
you
go
go ahead?
ahead.
Are you
No, I
programming it that
insist.
way, or are you
Yeah.
just randomly putting it in and out?
No, I have it programmed that way.
Okay.
And then obviously, there's playing with the getting the tensions perfect, and um, so you can
What's your
already see
favorite thing about embroidery, Johan?
just how intricate it can be. It's so detailed, and I love it just because people see it. When people see it, the reaction that people get when they realize that it's embroidery is, you never get that with anything else. Because everyone, when they see the work, they think it's painting at first until they get really close and feel the texture, and they said, well, "Wow, I didn't even know that's possible."
Yeah, I think it's for me, it's the fact that I can draw something, I can digitize it, and I can make it real where you can touch it and feel it. And it's just
Right.
really, there's just something about it that is just really exceptional.
I wanted to get into screen printing at one point, and I did for a little bit, but there's just nothing like embroidery. Something, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the machine itself that mesmerizes me. When I first got this thing, I couldn't stop looking at it, just watching.
Listen, man, my wife So last night I was actually running some pieces myself, and my wife is in the background. Come to bed, come to bed, because I just want to see it. I know it's gonna,
Exactly.
I know it's gonna go, but I'm just there looking at every single stage. It's like when you're pressure washing your driveway and you're just watching the
Right.
filth just come right out.
It is exactly like that. It's so
It's
satisfying.
it is very satisfying. Absolutely.
So we're almost at the halfway mark now.
So does anybody else online that's watching live have an Instagram store that kind of sells the same way? Oh, Herb Halstead said it's all word of mouth for him.
All word of mouth.
All
That's
word
what
of
worked.
mouth.
That's what's been working out for me for a couple years now.
Sometimes that's all you need.
It's a blessing, when people put the good word in.
It is. And we are having our Deco Summit coming up in September, and you can use code Carl10 to get 10% off the already low price. It's not going to get any lower than that. And it's a great networking event where you get to talk to all these people like Johan and other type of ambassadors, and learn from them and see how they got into what they get on into. It's really fascinating. You can learn a lot of techniques. We have hands-on training. We've got workshops, and it's really good. And it's going to be happening this year at headquarters. So it's going to be really fun. We're going to
Oh,
be
it's at
inaugurating the
headquarters.
new building.
I didn't know
It's
that it
going to
was
be
at the
right at
headquarters.
headquarters. So you get to, yeah, it's going to be really cool.
So I actually was looking at flight
We're all really
tickets the other
excited.
day, and I think I'm going to pull the trigger coming up in the next month or so, so I can be there. It looks very
Oh,
exciting. I mean,
nice.
if it's anything like Impressions, it seems like it's Impressions on steroids, but and I love Impressions, so I'm really excited to come
Yeah,
out
and
for the Deco Summit.
it's going to be all about embroidery
Oh,
and
really?
digitizing, and there's going to be printing and everything.
Okay.
And if you're just tuning in, Johan is actually layering the puff to create different levels of thicknesses so that the grape bunch that he's making underneath there is going to materialize, and it's going to look really cool. And Tina Lovery says that she also is word of mouth. And she's been doing embroidery for 32 years. Man, I
Wow.
can't get, did you know, Johan, that you can embroider balsa wood?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you
So
can.
I got something funny to piggyback on that. People always ask me, "Hey, can you embroider this? Can you embroider that?" And I say, I can embroider anything except metal, stone, or wood. So it sounds like I
Well,
can embroider wood now.
you can.
All right.
Yes. So when I met Miss Janet, she started showing me all these things that she embroidered. And one of her famous things is toilet paper.
Okay.
She embroiders toilet paper. So a lot of people buy them from her, the embroidered toilet paper to have in their guests' bathrooms and things
Right.
like that. So it's really, really cool. And you can do greeting cards, um, wood, some type of plastics, all the leather. You can make seat covers with it. So, I mean, there's so many things that people don't realize that can get embroidered. It's just amazing. Every day I'm surprised about how many things you can do with it.
I have done a lot of things that I was impressed by. I think I did a quarter-inch leather belt once, and the machine just flowed like butter right through it, and I was surprised.
A quarter-inch belt, leather belt.
Yeah, it was thick. It was
Wow.
very thick, and it just went right through first try.
Did you have to slow down the machine a little bit?
Yeah, we took it down to about 400 stitches per minute, just because. But I typically run the machine at 800 stitches per minute when I'm just doing regular flat work.
Yeah. What's your comfortable running speed? Me, when I'm doing hats, I'm typically between like 550, 650. And when I'm running flats, depending on what it is, just because I just like watching it, sometimes I'll keep it at 700, 800. That's a good speed for me.
I always do 800 on just about everything, unless, it's something really intricate or dense, then we'll slow it down. But 800 is a comfortable speed for me.
Yeah, that's what I usually keep mine at, around 800. And then let's see. Karen is also starting to do paper, toilet paper. All right, Karen.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah. What is it? Somebody else is doing toilet paper. There's a bunch of them that are doing toilet paper now. Miss Janet is starting a new trend. It's the TP trend.
Okay. What kind of toilet paper? Bounty.
I like the one with the lotion.
Okay.
With the little bear, it's got the lotion in it.
Right,
That one's
right.
kind of thick and it works really well. Don't get that
Okay.
cheap Scots that's like paper
No,
thin that you
no,
just
no.
breathe on it and it falls. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, I couldn't see that working out well.
And Tina Lovery just bought her second machine a month ago. She got an MT 1502, a two-head. Wow,
Ooh,
that's awesome.
That's definitely something I'm looking at in the future is a two-head.
Yeah, I think a multi-head is definitely something down the line for me as well, because you can, I had to make some hats for the previous Deco Summit, and on a single head machine, it would have taken me quite a while to get all of them done. But then with the multi-head, man, I was able to just breeze through those hats, and it was
Right.
just so fast. So do you ever? I'm sorry. Do you ever make multiple of the same images, or do you just do one type of one-offs and that's it?
It depends on how big of a design it is. If it's 800,000 stitches, I'll try and keep it at one piece. Just because, 12, 15 hours of runtime, it's a lot. It gets to be a lot. And I'd rather just kind of move on to the next design at that point.
Do you ever have people asking you to make something again?
Yeah,
If they
I
really
have
like
had
it, I
that.
guess?
Yeah, I've definitely had that before. For instance, that Pennywise, the clown piece, that was the third time that we've done that, just because so many people really loved it and they wanted it. They wanted one of their own.
So Tina says she runs flats at 800. All right,
Yeah,
Tina.
that's what I do.
She's an 800, and then for the hats she does 550 to 650. You see, that seems to be the norm. Good on
I
you,
guess it
Tina.
depends what kind of hat. Richardson you want to run slower just because of how thick it is. The structure of it.
Do you steam your Richardsons? Because some people say that you should steam them first.
I do. I actually I don't steam it. I put it on the hat hoop and I put an iron right to it and I iron it.
Oh, no kidding. Okay. There you go, folks. He puts the iron right to it. My first embroidery job was doing 12 Richardson caps, and I had Vitor digitize everything for me. And let me tell you, man, I did everything, all 12 hats, not one thread break. Digitizing is super important, man.
So all of the embroidery that you see of mine, Vitor does it.
Wow. All right. Shout out to Vitor. I hope you're watching, Vitor.
Vitor, we love you.
Yeah, man. He's a great guy. And the first time I did it, I just emailed him. I do jujitsu, right? And I was looking through the vendors list of all our vendors and things, and I saw his name. I saw he was in Brazil, so I was like, dude, I'm gonna call him up. He's like a brother to me, and he ran a hat on my design, and he didn't even charge me anything. I was like, dude, you didn't have to do that. I just wanted you to digitize the image. That was it. And so I've been sticking with him from then. So if you have a good digitizer, stick with them, because they get to learn your style. They get to learn what you want, what you're looking for, and then they can kind of cater the designs just for you.
And he goes the extra mile every time. He is a blessing, and he's also a huge inspiration. When I want to learn, when I actually come around to learning the craft of digitizing, I'll definitely be taking some notes out of his book.
Yeah, and he also has a bunch of free images, free designs that you can download from his website that he routinely updates and stuff, which is great.
He puts out a new font almost every other month.
He does. Somebody asked what size hoop you use for the Pennywise.
That's the sash frame, the 20-inch by 30-inch sash frame.
So we were using the
ready?
sash frame. I have yet to use my sash frame. Do you
It's
use your sash frame? I haven't
it's
used
a
mine
game
yet. I know
changer.
you. So when did you decide? Like, do you put the backing on the sash frame and then you put the vest on it and kind of hoop everything together and somewhat float it on?
Well, that's what we at first, we tried hooping it with the sash frame hoops, the jacket and backing at once. Didn't really work out. It was, the jacket's pretty thick. So
Right.
we just we hooped the backing, and then we'll take the backing on the hoop and then sew the garment down to the backing.
So you're almost basting it. It's like a base stitch. And then you just
Exactly.
tear it off afterwards, right?
Exactly.
Do you baste it with the embroidery machine or you actually sew it on first?
I sew it. I sew it with a straight stitch.
Okay. Now, just so you know, Johan, you can always baste it with the embroidery machine.
I didn't know that. Is that
Yeah,
a preset?
there is a based stitch that you can do on the machine that it'll actually sew the outline for you. And so you could skip that step.
Okay. I'm going to look into that. I had no idea.
So somebody asked if you adjusted the presser feet for your puff.
I did not.
Okay.
And
You know,
that sounds like something new to me.
yeah, depending on how thick the puff is. Like we did a hat called the Beast, and it was 9 millimeters of puff. For that one, we did raise the presser foot just a little bit so that it wouldn't pre-compress the puff too much and keep it nice and fluffy.
So the
All
most
right,
that
so let's
I've
take a
done
look.
is 12 millimeters of puff,
Wow, that's a
but
lot.
this is just
That's a lot.
6.
So let's take a look at that, man. That looks really nice.
Yeah,
That is
I
really, I
like the
can see
effect
the
of
different
how,
layers, man. That is so cool.
right.
That came out really, really cool.
Just something else to try at home.
Absolutely.
A
That's the
different
thing with
effect.
embroidery. Everybody looks at embroidery and think you can only just do flat stuff. But there are so many things that you can do. There's Marianne Taylor says, "Oh my God, it's beautiful."
Thank you, Marianne. All right, let's switch back to the front.
Teresa's Pieces says, "Nice work." She's like, "Good
Thank you.
job, Johan." Yeah, that's.
Thank you.
Oh,
All right,
somebody
let's
else.
get back to
Janelle
this.
uses Vitor as well. He's a popular
Yeah,
guy. We do
he
have other
is.
vendors. We do have other vendors. I started with Vitor, and I'm a loyal guy. Once I start with you, you treat me right, I'll stick with you. So he's always been good to me.
Exactly.
So I just never did the other ones, but I know we have other ones. Tina Lowry says, "Johan, you rock."
Thank you, Tina.
Hey, let me see
You
it again.
rock.
Grab it, and
Yeah.
like put it in front of the camera again real quick.
Of course.
That is super cool. And it came out nice and clean. Wow, look at that. So some of them are single layer 3, some of them are double layer, and man, you could really see the difference. That is really
Yeah.
cool. How does it feel?
It's lifted. It feels, as you would imagine a bunch of grapes would feel. It's almost good enough to eat, really.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But it's got, some puff to it. And it just feels three-dimensional.
That's neat. You can really see it too.
Yeah, that's the cool thing.
Really
It pops
nice.
out at you. It's definitely eye-catching, and I know camera doesn't always do everything justice, but I think camera is doing justice here.
No, I think we could see it. So Teresa's Pieces says that she tried 3D Puff the other day, and she thinks the satin stitch was too large, so it started to bird's nest. So Teresa's Pieces, if you are watching, the length of the satin stitch doesn't really matter. It's all about tension. And I'm not talking one little turn tension. I'm talking maybe 1, 2, 3 turn tensions on your top tension knobs and maybe 1 or 2 in your middle one. It's not a little click. You really want to, dial it in. So you can have 7 millimeter length, even 10, but your tension has to be dialed in. So for Puff, you have to tighten your upper tension. And I'm not talking a little click. I'm talking 1, 2, 3 whole turns.
So I've got a question about satin stitches.
Go for
You
it.
said it doesn't matter about the length. I've had some, I think it's called a jump stitch, where
Okay.
I'm not sure if there is a setting where I can access, where I am able to do a larger than 1 millimeter stitch. Was that what you said? The max, or what is the max?
So I believe the max is about 10 millimeters, maybe a little bit more. So that's a whole centimeter, right?
Okay.
And typically, if you're going to wear something, you don't want the satin stitch to be too long because it will snag on stuff as you wear it. So you don't want to brush up against the wall and then, kind of go like this, and it's just going to tear it off. So
of course,
usually if you're going to wear it, like 7 millimeters is a distance, and you can always use the split stitch feature so that it kind of splits it, and it'll do a random pattern, and you won't be able to tell that it's not one long piece. Now, if it's going to be like an heirloom or like your covers, the album covers that are going to be hung on a wall and nobody's going to touch it, then you could go a little bit longer with those.
Okay.
And for those, you could try the split stitch. So instead of going all the way across, it'll kind of just go halfway. And you can do a random pattern so that it doesn't create a trough in the middle.
Right. Okay.
But those are ways of getting, let me see.
A larger satin.
Treese's, yes. Treese's pieces, I wasn't seeing anything on my bobbin. Anything. So you weren't seeing the bobbin underneath your project? Again, it's just tension, the upper tension. Your bobbin, you don't mess with your bobbin when you're doing the puff. You mess with the upper tension. The upper tension right here. The two top ones up here. Upper tension.
So what machine is that behind you?
That is the Marquee. It's the Marquee 2001 with the 10S touchscreen paddle, or panel rather. It's a 20 needle, single head. I use this one. This is my baby right here. I use it every day. You'll see her on the videos. It's really great. That touchscreen panel is really awesome. At home, though, I have the 8S panel, which is just as good. But the advantage of the touchscreen or the 10S is that you can actually see your project on the screen. And as you change the colors, it also changes the colors on the screen. So let's say you wanted to mix it up a little bit and change the background, change the border to something else. You can just do it right on the fly right there. Change the color, and you actually get to see what it looks like before it embroiders. So it's a really cool way to kind of get a preview of your work before it happens.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing that at Impressions, and I mean all the new machines that you guys, or at least the latest since I've purchased mine, they're all gorgeous and they look like they run amazing.
So B Hop's House asked, how long did it take you to do the big design on the jacket? And we already talked about that, but I'll let you tell them. Go ahead.
So each jacket is different, and it really comes down to the stitch count on it. So the Pennywise one, I think, was 700,000 stitches, maybe.
Wow.
So roughly, I think that was 15 hours, just runtime alone, and then setting up the machine about an hour and a half. And with designs like that, you can't really run a test on it. So what I'll do is I'll take a section out of it, maybe like one of the more detailed sections. I'll open it up in Ricoma. I'll pull it out.
Interrupt, man. But that's something that is really interesting, because when you have those big designs, do you just run it, or do you do a sample first? Because I'm always telling people, never run a design that you just got on your original garment. But when you trust your digitizer and you know that they're doing, then you feel comfortable that you can do it, right? So finish, please.
Well, there's also that, but you want to do just a regular tension test on your machine on all the needles that you're using, just to be positive everything's clean as it should be. Make sure the bobbin's right, clean everything. When you're about to go into a 16-hour design, the machine should be well oiled. Everything should be running perfect, and then, like I said, if there is a part of it that is very intricate, I'll go into Chroma, I'll pull that specific section of the design out, and then I'll just run a test of that area just to be sure, okay, if this is running fine, all my threads are good, my bobbin's good, everything's oiled, I know that the rest of this is going to run fine for me.
What's the most colors you've done on a design?
23.
So you had to stop, change threads out, and then start again, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, for those that are just tuning in, can you show us a couple of those jackets again? I can't get enough of those. They're really cool.
I'm gonna move the camera back over so I don't want to shake too much.
That's okay. I like your thread wall. That's really nice.
Oh, I know. It's like my prized possession.
It's so cool.
Okay, let me flip the camera around. Go like this.
Sandra Civils wants to know what the name of the digital tension gauge is. So Tawa makes a digital tension gauge. There is a tension gauge that you can get for your upper thread, which is, it looks like a pen with a hook. And as you pull the thread through, there's a little gauge that tells you what the tension is. And the secret to those gauges is that you want to have a steady pull. If you yank it really quick, your tension will change. But you want to have a steady, steady, steady pull, and then you'll get a number. Let's take a look at that Pennywise. And for the Tawa, if again, you want to put your bobbin in there, and you can set your bobbin. And the Tawa gauges are really cool if you have a multi-head machine, so you can dial your bobbin in for each head to make sure it's the same. And again, you just want to pull it nice and smoothly. Don't jerk the thread, just pull it smooth so you get a consistent tension. Man, those are just so incredible.
Thank you.
How many colors was that one?
Oh, the last one, I think it was only maybe 9 or 10 because we changed one color to metallic.
Oh, nice.
We always try to utilize the metallic where we can.
There's so much detail on those. It's so incredible. Man, that looks so realistic.
I know. The way that Vidor does it, it's just all the layering, all the gradients, it really stands out. And one thing about the way that he does the gradients, I want to show this specific album. It's so photorealistic. It truly looks like Frank Sinatra.
It does. Chroma has a feature where you could take a picture and it will digitize it for you. I don't know if you know that.
Is that the auto digitize feature?
It's not. It's in addition to that. So you can take an image and auto digitize it, but Chroma also has this feature where you can bring in a picture and it will auto digitize the picture for you. And it does it in a way where it uses like all these multiple different threads and gradients, and it just kind of produces a picture, and you just have to stick with the color palette that it picks, and it does the whole photograph for you.
Here, I have one more clown piece.
When you guys come to the HQ, you can see the one that we did of Elvis. You just took a picture of Elvis, programmed it, and we ran it through the machine. They're really cool. This
one's more of a scary one. From the new Terrifier series, but
oh wow,
the eyes is what I like the most.
Eyes is what gets you. That looks so real.
It is, and honestly, amazing. In person, it is scary.
Wow.
But yeah.
So B-Hop's house says that you and I should raffle one of those.
Oh, should we? We'll talk.
Man. Yeah. Johan, will you raffle off a $700 jacket?
Oof. I
Somebody's
don't think
asking.
so.
Yeah, that's
Maybe.
a
I
lot
don't
of work,
know.
man. That's a lot of
That
work.
is a lot of time goes
That's a
into
lot of
that.
commitment. Yeah, that's crazy.
Maybe, maybe at the Deco Summit, we could come up with something like that.
Yeah. Adriana says, amazing.
Thank you, Adriana. Thank you, everybody.
Hey,
I do appreciate.
let me ask you, do you get any type of pushback when you tell somebody that it's $700?
Yeah. It's
You
usually
do?
from people that, oh, yeah. It's usually, people that don't really understand what goes into it. I've had people say I could do it for cheaper. And so, okay, go ahead, get the machine, get all your threads, get the digitizing program, and go ahead, if you think you can do it cheaper.
Yeah, I think sometimes you need to educate your customers to tell them just how involved it is. It's not like I can just print this out, put it on a shirt, and just give
Right.
it to you, you know. This is one of
And,
those things that it takes a lot of time.
and I've also got a short 3 years or 4 years under my belt of just learning the craft. That's 4 years every single day testing and trying and a lot of sleepless nights.
I can imagine.
Um,
Do you let your machine run while you're sleeping, or do you like to be there while it's running?
I let it run while I sleep. I let it run while I go to the grocery store, while I go out for a run. Um, as
So it
long as
never
there's a full
stops.
bobbin in there. Well, yeah, I do get, more like if I need to get something done, I'll take a nap, make sure the fresh bobbin's in there, wake up 2 hours later, put a new bobbin in, go back to sleep. But that's in rare instances.
You know, something that I like to do, I don't know if you do this, but I really don't like it when my embroidery stops in the middle of a big tatame section or a big fill section, right? So what I do is based on the stitch count, I'll put pauses in my machine so that around every 30,000 stitches, it'll pause. I could switch out, put a new bobbin, and then start again. That way I don't have to worry about it stopping in the middle of a fill and then I have to rewind a little bit. Because sometimes if you don't match it just perfect, you can kind of tell where you overlapped it. And I
Right.
don't want to have that. So I always tell people, always start with the fresh bobbin. But this is one way when you're doing those big designs, this might help you out, that you kind of program it every 30,000, because a bobbin will give you about 35,000. So let's say I do 32,000-ish, I'll kind of stop it, change my bobbin before it asked me to during a pause while it did the cut already.
I like that idea because there definitely has been times where you rewind too far and it's just and we notice it. Maybe other people won't notice it, but we notice it.
Yeah, it's funny because I have some hats that I've purchased from motorsports complexes like Sebring, Homestead, Daytona. And this is before I was an embroiderer. And now I go back and I look at them and I'm like, this is so bad. It's just
Yeah,
really bad.
I think it's in our blood. The first thing we do when we go and look at it as just a store and go look at a hat, turn it around and look at the inside first.
Yeah. And something that's gonna I see that you have tattoos.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to have a tattoo, but as an artist myself, and after seeing all these people with no regrets on their bodies, I'm thinking if I had a tattoo that was bad, all I would be doing was just looking at it all day, thinking, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." So that's
I've got a
one reason why
couple.
I haven't done it yet.
I've got a couple that it's all right.
You got a couple regret ones.
Yeah, I got a couple regrets on me.
Yeah, that's interesting, man.
It's okay though, right? It was gonna be empty space anyway. It's a story now.
So, Trista's pieces says which chroma Lux. Are you talking about the feature where it auto digitizes the picture for you? I think it is Lux that does that. You just put the picture in, hit a button, and it'll give you the whole face with all the gradients and everything. And yes, Tina Lovery, people don't realize how hard embroidery is, even though you're not the one physically doing it, but you have to have the machine, you have to have the skill for digitizing, you have to be able to sit there and watch it happen. And somebody said that they get anxiety if they're not standing next to the machine. It was Jesus, I believe. So, listen, you have to trust the process. You have to trust your machine. If you do your maintenance, if you make sure that everything is kosher, you should be able to just walk away from your machine. Unfortunately, sometimes you might get some thread breaks, but the machine will go beep, 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 and let you know that it's broken so you can go back and fix it. But definitely, it's something that, some people, like sometimes I have my little dog watching cameras, and I'll put the camera in front of the embroidery machine so I can walk away and like let it tell me if anything is happening. Kind of like my 3D printer. It's got a built-in camera so I can see what's happening. So every now and then I'll check in on the machine to make sure it's running.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
I mean, I've ran into, some issues where I've stepped away and something might go wrong. My own mistake that caused it. And you just gotta chalk it up as a learning issue or a learning curve and realize why that mistake happened and just be one with the machine. Like I feel like it's just an extension of my body, honestly. I just and as long as you know the machine in and out, you shouldn't have any troubles.
All right. Somebody said, how do you program those stops? On every single color, there's a little pause button that you can put on that color. So that's how you would program those stops. So, Johan, in closing, it's about that time. It's about that time. Let's finish off with the puff embroidery piece that we just made today. That was really interesting. So some of the key takeaways is that you can layer the puff, and remember to remove the underlay from your puff because you don't want to pre-compress the puff foam. And you can use craft foam. You can use the embroidery foam. There are many different types of materials that you can use to create that puff. And you use the Madeira foam. That looks really cool, Johan.
Thank you. Yeah, Madeira. I use Madeira for anything that Madeira makes. I use it.
Yeah, they got
tried
some good stuff.
They do.
That's cool. All right, well, and everybody, let's give a big shout out to Johan. Johan, thank you very much. I want to go home and go get a Carhartt and do a really big back piece now. I'm super excited. I hope that you guys learned something today, and
what was that?
And I don't know what happened. But give me your final thoughts, Johan, so we can conclude this.
Ricoma. If you're thinking about getting a Ricoma machine, or if you're thinking about getting any embroidery machine, Ricoma is the way to go. I'm a big supporter, big advocate. And aside from that, just try new things. Push the boundaries is really what I focus on these days, is figuring out something that hasn't been done before. How can we do it? What can we do to evolve the embroidery culture, or what we know embroidery is today? How can we create something new that we haven't known that could be done tomorrow?
Yeah, man, that's great. It's all about innovation and learning new things and new techniques. And if you want to learn some new techniques, make sure you go to Deco Summit this year. Carl 20 for your discount, or Carl 10 for your discount. Just let's make it happen, guys. We'll see you on the next video. Johan, thank you very much. Let's dab it up right here.
I'll see you later. Yeah, right over here. Boom.
Bah!
Boom.
We'll see you on the next one, guys.
All right. You guys are here because you have challenges or questions that you want answers to.
Because you only have one chance to make a first impression.
Deco Summit is very different than a typical trade show that we attend. Everybody is here to network and learn.
Here at Deco Summit, I'm honored to be one of the speakers. I was talking about how to grow your business and find customers, and then I get to be a student. So I've been in some hands-on embroidery. I'm obsessed.
If you've never been to Deco Summit, I would tell you definitely need to get out here. If you're on the fence whether or not to get an embroidery machine, I think that this would be a good experience. You get hands-on training. You meet a lot of people that are already in the industry.
Without coming here, I would have never turned my machine on. So
there you go. One step at a time.